celebrities are all now launching their own drinks. We just talked to Carrie Underwood a few days ago about her deal with Body Armor. Why are you getting into this space?
Well, thank you for having us on, number one. And number two, we're getting into this space because we had identified that there was a need, and B, I think a really interesting and exciting white space, just in terms of the market and in terms of the consumer. And what I mean by need is, for many, many years, myself and my co-founding partners, John Schulman, who's on with us now, Danny Garcia and Dave Ramsey, we had, for many years, we were the consumers of energy drinks. But interestingly enough, we would drink them in a reticent way. And the white space that we had identified that was out there was, well, what if we created an energy drink that gave consumers real confidence? And especially if the plan is to expand the category and grow the category. And what if we created an energy drink that expanded the category, that gave consumers real confidence in terms of what they were drinking, in terms of the caffeine, making sure that it was all natural caffeine, green tea extracts, green coffee beans. But then also on top of that, Sarah, we thought that it was critical that we layer in, and actually we reversed engineered it, this entire process, and we started with this point first that I'm getting ready to share with you, is the immunity package. So we set out to make a great immunity package in the energy drink space, but then once I got COVID, and my entire family got COVID, and everyone around us got COVID, it was a very scary time, but once we got on the other end of COVID, we gathered the team back again, went back to the lab and said, well, what if we created the best immunity package out there, and one that, quite frankly, is not being offered at all in the energy space, and that's that white space that I talk about. So, there was some nice writing on the wall for us to get involved into this space, and as you guys know, timing is everything. And we had a conversation, and we thought, the timing feels good here. We're pretty ambitious and aggressive business people, but we're also very patient, and the timing felt right.
Well, there's certainly a rush for immunity boosters right now, John, but also for energy drinks. It's a hot growth space in the beverage category, but it's also increasingly crowded. Obviously, Monster and Red Bull are out there. They were early. Coca-Cola is launching its own energy drink. PepsiCo's getting into it. So how do you see ZOA fitting in with some of the bigger players?
Well, it is a large category, and to that extent, it's an appealing category. Innovation inside of the category has thus far been defined largely by how do you put more caffeine into the can. And as DJ mentioned, what we were after was how to put a healthy alternative onto the shelf to actually expand the size of the category. And while DJ, Danny, Dave, and I had a clear view and a clear thesis that there was that white space in the market, then we had to stress test that with science and market research. When I started Juggernaut Capital 13 or 14 years ago, among the assets that we acquired was an analytical chemistry lab where we test products inside of categories to find the white space and to produce a better entrant for that category. So we did all of this inside of the lab, and we built this formula that does not exist and only now does, that we're about to put on the shelf. And we tested it continuously with consumers. So as DJ said, this has an immunity package that does not exist. It has a vitamin and supplement package that does not exist. And then we tested it and repeatedly tested it. We worked with the largest flavor house in America, because no matter how good your formula is, no matter how better for you it is, it must taste good. And we iterated and iterated and iterated, and we know that there is this spot for this offering out there, and that's why we created ZOA. And ZOA is a brand. ZOA is even bigger than a brand, the first manifestation of which is this healthy energy drink that we are about to put out to market.
Dwayne, you've already proven how quickly you can grow and scale a brand like this with your tequila, and I guess one of the key contributing factors to that is your social media reach with 200+ million followers just on Instagram alone. I wonder if you had in your mind as a entrepreneur and an investor what the actual value of that following is that you've built up, and whether you consider that social media following to be something that you own, that's yours, or whether the platform deserves to be able to have some control over it?
Well, thank you, Wilford, for that. And yes, we found some really nice success with Teremana Tequila as we launched that brand in March of 2020 when the pandemic hit our shores and we got shut down. So it was a bit of a challenge, but we bounced back and we had a really tremendous year. And I'll be remiss without saying, because I give so much credit to our partners and our team, we wound up becoming the highest selling brand in all categories of spirits in its first year of sales. So congratulations to the team. And as far as for social media, at first I was adverse to social media many years ago, roughly about 10 years ago. But then I thought, well, there has to be a way to do it. And there has to be a unique way to do it where it would just allow me to connect directly with the audience, the consumer, the people, who I always feel is our number one boss, besides my wife. And it's so far, and it continues to be, Wilford, it continues to be the number one driver, the most invaluable resource and asset that I have in my world, in my ecosystem, in my portfolio, you name it, because it allows me direct access to the consumer and to the people where otherwise I certainly wouldn't get it. And so it has really paid off tremendously. And as you bring up social media and the importance of that, when we did launch Teremana Tequila, I had the marching orders that I'd given the team. I said, my gut says that we don't do anything polished during this time, that nothing feels produced. Let me just have a conversation with the audience and through social media, and that's what we did. And now we will still apply those ideologies to ZOA. Be still very forward-facing, connect with the audience on a personal level, let them understand just how deeply personal this brand is to us all, from the name to the packaging to the taste to everything else. So social media has been the number one driver.
John, I was going to ask about the name. Where does ZOA come from?
I'm going to put that one back to DJ, but I want to follow on to one thing that he said, which is we know that consumer buying behavior is changing, and we know that these changes are not merely cyclical; they are secular. So when you want to come to market with a new brand that is going to have long-standing appeal, and particularly in the minds of emerging consumers, it must have this social media component to it. We believe strongly in the science and the market research, but also the social media component. So this is really a brand new approach, which we look forward to speaking to you all about again and again, about how to bring new consumer products to market. But I do want DJ to tell you about our name and about everything behind it.
Sure, I'll be happy to. It's a unique name, and so it first started, our original name was TOA, with a T, T-O-A, and in my cultures, I'm half black and half Samoan, and on the Samoan side, my Polynesian side, the word TOA means warrior. Now, we felt like we needed an anchoring element to root our brand in, and the idea was, well, let's service the everyday warriors in everyone across the board. Now, however, TOA is aggressive, it's a male warrior in the world of Polynesia. So we went back to the drawing board and thought, well, if this brand is going to be for everybody from A to Z, let's remove the T, add the Z, and here we come with ZOA.
Got it. Wanted to also ask you about Under Armour, because it's been a roller coaster ride for investors. This company is in a very different place, Dwayne, than when you